Hello everyone and welcome to this video where today I'm going to be filming my 26-week pregnancy update. So as always, if you see me looking down, I have just got my notebook here in front of me. I've got a few different topics to cover this week, such as symptoms I've been experiencing, contact with the diabetic team, my antenatal class, baby academy class, and bits that I've bought for baby this week as well. So some symptoms that have continued and stayed the same for me this week. I am still getting kind of like an uncomfortable pain in my ribs. It's due to just not feeling like there's much room in my stomach anymore. I feel like things are much tighter in there, and yeah, it's getting a lot more crammed. I have also felt the stretching on my stomach. That just happens every week now as baby's getting bigger and bigger. Obviously the stretching doesn't slow down, so I've still been feeling that. Alongside that, I have actually noticed that I have had a few stretch marks starting to appear. I am very lucky in the fact that I am really pale, and any stretch marks I have had in the past tend to be really white, so on my skin they don't really show up. I can kind of feel them, or if I look really closely I can see them. I've been getting them kind of just above my belly button and towards the top of my stomach, but they're only really faint and they're like little and white stretch marks, and I'm sure there'll be more to come yet. The baby has continued to be really active this week. I have noticed sometimes if I'm getting up to go to the toilet in the night, or sometimes around 5 o'clock in the morning, that they'll be moving around a lot more. I don't know whether it's that's woken me up to make me get up and go to the toilet, or just woken me up in general, but I've definitely noticed more movements around those times in the evenings. One big major symptom that I've noticed this week is baby brain. So the first couple of weeks of becoming pregnant I had this, but it's definitely come back now. I am so forgetful. If I need to remember something, I just have to write it down now as I think of it, or else I will forget. Also just calling people the wrong names all the time and things like that. Is kind of just funny at this point because I'm just not remembering the silliest little things, but I've had this for like the last week or so now, and yeah, I've really started to notice it a lot more again. One new thing that I've noticed this week is beginning to get a little bit of heartburn. So I'd actually switched one of my meals this week to make fajitas, and I may have put a little bit too much seasoning from the packet with the meal, so it was a little bit more spicy than I would normally have them. But after that, all through the night I felt really sick, and it was kind of like a heartburny feeling. The next day I felt a bit like it as well. I wasn't actually sick, it just made me feel a little bit nauseous, and yeah, I think that was definitely from having the fajitas. Now, when I was actually pregnant with my daughter, towards like the middle end of my pregnancy, I used to get really bad heartburn. If I ate anything moderately spicy, it would kind of wake me up in the night that night and I would just be sick. Like, it would actually make me be sick. So yeah, I think that's just kind of expected that I may start developing a little bit more heartburn as I'm getting further along in this pregnancy as well. As I said, I wasn't actually sick, but maybe next time I make fajitas I'll just probably not put quite as much seasoning in. So that was everything for updates on symptoms that I've been experiencing. Now, I did also have to contact the diabetic team again this week, as I had started metformin last week, and since then I had had maybe 2 or 3 readings out of target, but that is from day 1 of starting the tablets, which is obviously when my readings were starting to become higher anyway, hence being put onto them. I will just note as well, I am on the modified release metformin. I didn't actually realise until I had ordered a new packet and the wording had slightly changed, but yes, I'm on like the slower release tablets. But as I contacted them, and most of the, like probably 2 out of the 3 readings that were over were when I'd just been on like day 1 or day 2 of taking tablets. They really weren't too concerned, and my readings have come down since then, so they're really happy with that. So yeah, no problems with that moving forward. They did obviously say if I do have more than 2 more readings over, then to get in contact with them again. But as they've all come down, they've said it should be fine for a little while now anyway. And I am on the maximum dose of metformin now. I've gone up to 4 tablets a day, so I'm having 2 with breakfast and 2 with my evening meal as well, and that seems to be working well for me at the moment. I'll now move on to talk about my antenatal class this week. So it was all to do with feeding and bonding with your baby, and they did have a feeding specialist running the session this week. So they did cover a range of different things at the session. So benefits of breastfeeding for the mother and the baby. There's a lot of more benefits than I thought there'd be, like especially health benefits for both of you as well, which is really good. They covered feeding positions and different ways you can hold baby whilst you are feeding. How to get the correct latch as well and the importance of that. How often to be expecting to feed your baby. They said it's in those first few weeks it's really normal for babies to feed anywhere from at least 8 times a day to about 12 times a day, but obviously there are stages where you go through cluster feeding and it could be more, and as they get older it can be less, but that's kind of the average of what to expect. And they actually said that you can spend up to like 8 hours a day breastfeeding, which obviously is like the same as working a full-time job, which is crazy. But yeah, they just explain like the importance of making sure you're comfortable, you've got a drink near you, any snacks, as you might be sat there feeding for a long time in the day. They then also touched upon safe sleep, as obviously you're going to be feeding the baby lots in the night and you may be really tired. They said everyone has the best intentions of not co-sleeping with the baby, however it's bound to happen at some point, and it's important that you know the ways to be able to do that safely. They also touched upon feeding cues, so you've got those early cues, moderate, and then when the baby's crying at the end. And they also went over about how it's important to calm the baby down before feeding, or else they're really going to struggle to latch, and that's going to cause lots of other problems with feeding. They also spoke about hand expressing. There was a few people asking about collecting colostrum, but they said they don't particularly comment on that, as it's really individual to the person. There's different like conditions people can have, and generally your personal midwife will speak to you whether that's suitable for you and when to do it, but they don't recommend doing it before 37 weeks anyway. They did also speak about nappies and what to expect there, how like nappies change from day 1 up until like day 6 and beyond, such as wet nappies. You're kind of expected to have day 1 wet nappy, day 2 2 wet nappies, and that carries on up until day 6 where you're expecting 6 wet nappies, and then from there on it's kind of 6 wet nappies a day. That's what you should be expecting. So it's little useful bits of information like that which I found really helpful. We obviously did do the Baby Academy breastfeeding class as well, and a lot of the information was very similar to that, but I think that was also useful to attend because it's definitely helped make the information stick. Once you're hearing it a few times you think, oh yeah, I've heard that from a few different people now, so you're more likely to remember it. But it was a really helpful session and yeah, really useful, and glad we went along to it again. On the weekend we did also have another Baby Academy class booked in, so this one was the first 6 weeks. So when I originally booked this, I didn't read too much into the information. I like to just go along to it and take down a few notes here and there, and they do send out all the slides later on in the week with all the information anyway, so you don't have to feel like you're there taking notes down the whole time. But actually in this session they touched a lot on the mother in the first 6 weeks rather than care for the baby, which I thought it would be. But yeah, they covered lots of different things and it was still really helpful. So some of the things that they covered in this class were the baby's development in this first 6 weeks, kind of what to expect from baby in each week after birth. They spoke a lot about postpartum and what to expect there, with things like bleeding and emotional changes and hormones and things like that. They touched upon recovery tips and how to help ensure smooth recovery for mother, and not overdoing it as well in those first few weeks. They spoke about nutrition for mum, which obviously is important any point, but also when you're breastfeeding as well, to help making sure that you're keeping enough nutrients to look after yourself, as you're obviously also supplying milk as well. They spoke about what is normal post-baby exercises as well that you can be doing, such as tummy exercises and pelvic floor exercises as well. They did stress that that's really important to do whilst you're pregnant as well and leading up to the birth, as that will really help you. They did give everyone a chance to give some pelvic floor exercises a go, and they just encourage you to build it into your daily routine, such as like when you're brushing your teeth, and then it just becomes part of your day-to-day and you don't end up forgetting to do it. They did also touch upon jaundice and how to look out for this in your baby. They covered a bit about tummy time and the importance of this, when you can kind of do this from, and why it's good for baby. And also how to improve your baby's senses, so what you can be doing to help improve development for the baby from that side of things as well. So that was everything that we covered at the Baby Academy class this week. I've got one booked in next week and then one in a few weeks time as well, so we've nearly covered all the classes that they offer and they've been really useful. Again, as I say every week, I really recommend doing them if you haven't already. On the weekend, we did also attend a baby market. Now, when I had my daughter, they used to run these across different areas. So it's basically like a pre-loved baby sale. So it's just stalls full of baby items. So you've got accessories, clothes, anything that you would expect for like a baby and child, really. So we went along to that. It was very, very busy there. We didn't get any items for baby, like accessories and toys and bits like that, which I thought we might do. However, we did get a lot of baby clothes. I didn't spend very much there at all, actually, and there was one stall in particular where I found some really nice clothes, so I ended up buying a big bag of clothes from them. And yeah, they were really nice quality, really good brands. So we're definitely going to look out and see if there's any more baby markets on in the area near us coming up, and we'll be going to those if there is. And finally, I thought I'd just touch upon a couple of things I picked up for baby this week. So I picked up a top and tail bowl. I didn't do this with my daughter. I did used to bath her every day when she was a baby, which I know isn't the best for their skin. My daughter has luckily always had really good skin and no issues with anything to do with that, so we were able to just wash her every day. However, I know that's not the same for every baby, so we might use top and tailing a little bit more this time. I did also pick up a thermometer. I did look into some different options to see what would be the best, whether like a ear thermometer, which is ones that we've used before, a forehead thermometer, or an underarm thermometer would be best. And we found that actually the most accurate was going to be an underarm thermometer, so I've ordered one of those from Braun. I picked up some breast milk storage bags. I just picked up a box of those so we have them in if I need them. I did get a couple of the Frida Baby products as well. I got the it's like a nose sucker. I did get that in first aid kit the last time, but it hasn't come with the one that I've got this time, so we just picked that up separately and I've heard it's really good. And I did also get a bottle brush, as in case we do end up using bottles. I've got some Mam bottles, so I just got a Mam bottle brush as well. I picked all of these up off Amazon, as they all were on really good Amazon prices. That's why I picked up those things this week, as they were all on offer. And I did also get 15% off using the Amazon baby wish list as well, so that was really good. So that's everything for updates for this week. So I'll go ahead now and show you the bump update at 26 weeks pregnant. So this is the bump update at 26 weeks and 6 days. So that's everything for my 26-week pregnancy update. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.